Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We have a fascinating guest in studio today. It's Marie Guenther, and she's a professional organizer and owner of That Girl Organizes. Welcome.
Thank you.
So how did this all start for you?
Well, it actually started back when I was a child. I grew up on a split level. There were 6 of us there, including my parents, and it was a little crowded. Well, when I was about 10, my dad was an entrepreneur, and he was peaking. So he had a few houses, few boats, and way too much stuff. To the point when I was 12, 13 years old, I had my mom take me to the library to study. Now, granted, I just had friends meet me there, but I needed peace and quiet and just order. I absolutely loved it. Then I went to college. I had 4 boxes, and I never came back. My parents were a little surprised, but I just wanted my stuff. I didn't want chaos. I couldn't deal with it anymore. Then I went and got married, and my husband and I had a couple kids. And you know how it is when you have a baby. You have all this stuff that people keep giving you, buying you the swing and the jumpy thing, and all this crazy stuff that takes up so much room.
Starts piling around the house.
Oh, it's everywhere. There's usually a room, family room, living room, whatever. And my husband and I were sitting in there, we're like, we can't live like this anymore. There is stuff everywhere. So the next morning, my husband goes to work, babies are falling asleep, I put them in their car seats, load up the car 5 times, and take 5 loads to the Salvation Army. So he came home and he was really surprised, but a good surprise. He was glad to see that we didn't have so much clutter, we didn't have so much chaos. So then a few years later, my parents have their big old house that they have stuffed with all kinds of things to make them happy, which really didn't. And my dad's business is tanking at this point. And he's like, you know, I think I need to sell the house. I said, you do need to sell the house. I'm your bookkeeper, Dad. I've been telling you this for a year and a half. And he's like, I think you're right. So it's Thanksgiving. He and my mom go up to northern Wisconsin to be with my brother for Thanksgiving, and my dad has a heart attack. My mom calls, and she said, empty the house. I'm not living there anymore. We need to sell this house immediately. My mom ends up losing the house. My dad's bills are in such disarray, and his taxes and so forth, that they actually my mom ends up with nothing. So the life insurance doesn't cover everything, and my mom is broke now. And I don't think anyone should have to live like that. No family needs to. And if you are disorganized in your life, you are disorganized in your finances, and you will end up sucking your bank account dry. And nobody has to live like that.
I don't often think that we put organization and financial success on the same plane. I think we often think, oh, they're just, they're super organized and they're super, financially successful. So wow, a lesson to learn the hard way.
Yes.
But that kind of motivated you forward, and here you are today with That Girl Organizes. Who are your clients? Who seeks you out?
My clients are busy moms who work or don't work, have a couple kids, and they just have chaos everywhere. They can't get a grasp on it. So I help them to get organized and stay organized according to their learning style, which makes all the difference.
So you said a key word there that I kind of want to talk a little bit about, and I think it's what sets you apart is when you say learning style. How do you organize somebody? I mean, I would think you would just come in and kind of straighten me up.
So anybody can do that, and that's what almost every organizer out there will do. I used to be a teacher. So I understand learning style, and Liz, I could ask you 3 questions and know what your learning style is in 30 seconds.
Okay. I'm pretty sure you already figured out my learning style.
I have.
You have by just watching me. So how does that help you organize somebody and keep them organized? Why is that important that you understand how I learn?
For instance, if you're very tactile and you're slightly visual, I would use baskets or something that is very touchy-feely, like twill or woven, and I would use labels, because you're visual, and those labels might have something bumpy on them, so if you touch them, it's kind of a reminder for you. It's what works for you. It's what triggers Liz to stay organized. And it's very difficult to put something away in the wrong spot when it's labeled.
True. I think labeling helps. And I also think that the key for you is that stands out is that you're teaching me rather than just giving me the process and say, fill the buckets, because that may not be my style. You're helping me to get this to be a habit for me.
Exactly. Otherwise, it's really overwhelming. And to get yourself there.
Again.
Right. But once I get you there and you're at square one again, it's totally doable.
That's great. So I would imagine that you are super for other people like realtors and people who have to organize other things. So tell me a little bit about the realtors you work with.
I love working with realtors. So I work with quite a few people on the Keller Williams team. I have a few at Baird & Warner, Capital Asset, and elsewhere. So what the realtors absolutely love about me is I will get their clients pre-packed, decluttered, and organized beautifully enough that people walk in their house and are like, oh yeah, I want this house. And it gets their clients going quickly, because you know how it is when you sell a house. Oh my goodness, there's so many things to think about, and you're thinking about where you're moving. It is so stressful. And if I didn't have my organizers help me with my last move, I would have gone crazy. It's very hard, but it gets them off their butt, getting them organized, packed, done, and get that house listed fast. I've gotten houses listed in 3 days.
That's awesome. Well, and I also think that a move triggers a good time to get organized and take that step you've been trying to take for a while. And so, and then to have someone like you come alongside to set up the next place better. Super. You had a really sweet story about a military mom. Tell me that one.
Yeah, so a couple years ago, it was the second week in December on a Sunday night. I get a call at 10:30 at night, which I believe in God whispers. Some people say it's just your gut. Something told me, pick up that phone, Anne-Marie. So in my happiest 10:30 at night voice, I said, hi, this is Anne-Marie, that girl organizes. How can I help you? And she's like, is this Anne-Marie? I said, yes, what's up? What can I help you with? And she said, I just moved into a brand new house that my husband and I built, and I need it organized. I said, so you just moved in? I said, how long ago? She said, 2 weeks. I said, okay. All of a sudden she gets quiet and I hear some sniffling. She goes, there's something else you need to know. She goes, I'm 33 and my husband just died. I'm like, whoa, okay. What can I do to help you? She goes, is there any way you can be here tomorrow? I said, I actually am booked tomorrow, but I'm gonna figure out something. I have a long-term client. She would totally understand. And lo and behold, she did. She's like, get over there and help this lady. I will wait. So I walk in the door the next morning. I push through these boxes, and her foyer is ginormous. 6 boxes across, 4 high.
Wow.
So it's just a wall. It looks like the movers just dumped everything right in her foyer for her. And I thought, wow, that's really welcoming. And I hear this girl on the other end of it. She's like, Anne-Marie, come in. And I'm pushing my way through. And I'm glancing around, there's boxes everywhere. There are so many containers, food containers in her kitchen. There's Lou Malnati's, there's Noodles & Company, there's Pizza Hut. Like, have you been eating out for the last 2 weeks? She's like, yeah. I said, before I leave today, this kitchen is going to function. She's like, okay, cool. I start opening boxes and I'm like, let's get this done. She said, you know, my boys' rooms are upstairs. I have a spare bedroom that way. I said, okay, great. And my office is here. So I start opening things and all of a sudden I pull out her husband's boots. She's in hysterics. She's screaming, crying, and grabbed her coat and bolted out the door. I didn't see her for a couple hours. Now I understood why she called me, because every time she opened something that had man stuff in it, it broke her heart over and over. So I put all of his stuff in the spare bedroom for our last day. By the end of that day, I got her kitchen completely organized. Most of her things were in her office, and the boys' clothes were hung up. By the end of the week, I had the whole house completely organized so that she could work, she could feed her children. Everything was perfect. And she didn't know anyone. She was from out of state. And she's like, hey, do you know a painter? Do you know a plumber? I said, I've got a list for you of top-notch people that I've used. Here you go. And I was just so grateful that I could help her, because she needed me more than anyone had needed me in a long time, and she didn't have anybody.
That's wonderful. And those are the heartwarming stories. And that also, I think, illustrates how much organization helps you in life. And it actually is, you know, kind of that structure that we need. You have a great saying, need, love, use. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. So when we are going through a client's items, we'll say we open up a kitchen cabinet And I will pull everything out and put it on their island, and I'll say, okay, what do you need? What do you use? And what do you love? If an item does not fit any of those categories, it's got to go. They're like, oh, that makes sense. I've got this waffle maker that's been sitting there for 15 years that I got as a wedding present. I'm like, I don't care who gave it to you. It doesn't bless you in any way. Let's bless someone else with it. And they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. It just makes it easy. It's an easy way to think about it. And I like to tell my clients after I organize them, when they go to a store and they're looking at, that great blazer that they're in love with, do you really need it, or do you have 5 in your closet already? Will you use it, or are you stay-at-home mom who never dresses up anymore? You have to think about it. Do you need it? Do you use it? Do you love it? If it doesn't fit those categories, don't buy it in the first place, because you're just creating clutter.
That's wonderful. That's a great tip to leave us on. Thanks so much for stopping by and sharing your story and sharing your method and giving us a lot of clues, and more importantly, just introducing us to That Girl Organizes.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And we're going to be right back with more Business Connections. Stay tuned.